We've parked up at a place called Botanical Beach. Now Adam's having a bit of a nap and I said, you know what, I'm going to explore some of the trails in this location and see if I can come across any images. We are going to go out later this evening, tomorrow early morning, before I head back to Vancouver tomorrow evening. So I haven't got as much time as I had last time. I had 4 days here last time, so it was great. So I'm going to get back to my bag, pack up, head on to some of these trails and see what we can come across. So we've made it up to this hidden grove of old growth trees. Now it really is spectacular in this location we're at. We passed Lonely Doug on the way up. What a huge tree it is, just standing proud on its own. Unfortunately the area around Lonely Doug has been logged in the past and it's quite sad to see really. So we've continued up the fire road here. We left Botanical Beach. It actually started to rain, so we didn't have a lot of time down there. It was quite rushed. Got a lot of low cloud today and we've got some nice gaps and openings in the forest above, which is just letting some nice light on the side of these old growth trees. We haven't got a lot of water today, so what we're doing is using the foliage and shooting across this part of a stream that leads up the mountainside towards these old growth trees. So that's the kind of images we're going to be looking for, and just have a good explore around this area in the time that I've got left here. So this is the first shot that I want to go for. So I want to go for a composition where I can include some of the ferns as a foreground. We've got this lovely fallen tree here which has got some really nice mosses on, and it leads over to these old growth. There's a section of old growth behind us here, and they're catching some lovely light from the sky at the moment. So there's a nice area of light in the centre of the image. Now if you look to my right, you'll be able to see a load of mosquitoes. Now if you look to my right, you'll be able to see there's some really nice ferns in the bottom left corner there, and they're really standing out. Some lovely shades of green there, so that's going to frame the left hand corner of the shot. I'm going to have some of these foreground ferns in the shot, which leads over to these old growth trees, and there's a lot of interest there. There's lots of different directions with these fallen trees here, and then there's some nice light on the sides of those trees. Now I'm shooting this at 14mm. I'm really close to those ferns, so I'm going to get out of here because I'm getting eaten alive. I'm going to get this image and I'll put it on the screen above, so I hope you like it. So we've came back to Botanical Beach where I was yesterday. Now you'll remember I walked some part of the trail in the time that I did have. In the video you'll probably seen us walk through this bit of a grove here. It's a bit of a pathway leading through this coastal trail, and it's got a ton of interest with these interesting branches of the trees. They're all twisty and intertwined. Now it is a bit trodden in the centre because this is where people walk through on the coastal trail to get down at the coast, but it's that interesting. I wanted to come back and grab a shot before we moved on. So what I'm going to do is I've got a composition set up already. I'm going to take you through that composition. It is pretty overcast, some nice darks in there, but there's also some nice highlights on the edge of the bark. So what I'm doing is I'm getting up close. I'm going to utilise that 14mm again. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to focus stack this one. I'm going to take one on the immediate foreground, one on the midground, and that's going to get everything sharp from front to back. And I'm also going to have a look about, see if I can find another composition before I move on. But it's a really interesting grove of trees and the formations are quite amazing, so I want to capture that. Now I couldn't capture it yesterday because there was a lot of people, there was a lot of foot traffic coming through here. We are pretty close to the beach, so I wanted to come back first thing this morning and see if we could capture an image. So I'm going to get back to the camera, get this shot, and I hope you like it. Now I have been here for one day already, so I've got 2 days left because I actually came for 3. Now I came here after work on the Thursday evening. It was really nice, but I got in quite late. I didn't get in till about 8-9 o'clock in the evening. So what we wanted to do is, the idea was that because Carmanor Provincial Park's quite far in, as you'll remember in my previous videos, we wanted to get in as close as we could. So when we came on the Friday morning, we didn't have far to travel. The mosquitoes are back, by the way, and so that's what we done. But yesterday when we were here, it chucked it down with rain literally all day. Now we sat about in the van, we had food, we had something to drink, and just sat it out. Now we couldn't wait any longer, so we got out of the van about 4 o'clock and stayed out here till about 7. So what we done in that time, because it was chucking it down with rain, we just wanted to make our way in to Carmanor Provincial Park where we are today, to check out locations. And today, even though it's raining, we've got some atmosphere there. There's still some fog in the treetops. It's just when you get down into the valley, a lot of that fog disappears. So fingers crossed that we get some nice light later on. You never know. It is supposed to be sunny tomorrow, so as the day goes on we might get some of that sunlight coming into the forest. So hope you enjoy the rest of today's video, and here's to a good day. Now if we go on about the mosquitoes quite a bit today, I can't help that because they're terrible. So I've came across my first location that I want to photograph. Now we came down this trail, as I said earlier, later yesterday evening. It was tipping it with rain, there was a bit of breeze in here, so we just wanted to scout out the area. Now when I was coming yesterday, Adam carried on and I came down this bit of a trail just to explore the river, because the river is beyond this part of the forest. But as I got down there, I was really looking up at the trees, just admiring the trees, and I actually seen a shot that I quite like. Now you'll be able to see these trees, and they've all got different forms and shapes. You've got some leaning against each other, so that there's a lot of interest there. Because we're getting that nice diffused light today, you know, we've got some atmosphere in the treetops. It's casting some nice light down here onto the forest floor and the sides of these trees. So this is what I want to capture. So I'm actually going to go for a wide shot, maybe a 16:9 or maybe a pano as well. I'll just have to see as the day goes on. Now we've got these ferns in the foreground here that you can see still, and they're going to add a nice foreground interest. And then you've got these trees. Now I've positioned the camera so I'm limiting the amount of sky that's creeping into the shot. So where we have got sky, there's actually some atmosphere in there, so it's working out nice. So I'm going to make my way back to the camera away from these mosquitoes, because what I actually find is when you're moving, they don't bother you. It's when you stand still for a certain period of time, they attack you. So I'm going to get back, put this shot on the screen above, and I hope you like it. Well, it's quite amazing. We've made it down to the location that we wanted to photograph. Next, we've got this huge grove of trees and mosquitoes that we're wanting to photograph. Now the light's really nice at the moment. It's nice subdued light. Now the sun did try to make it out before, and when it did, it got really harsh light, you know, specular highlights everywhere, and it didn't look really good. So we've just hung on for a little bit longer. There's plenty of cloud cover today, so I'm going to try and get an image in here, but you'll be able to see some of the trees behind us. It's quite spectacular. So I've got this tree here, I've got that nice tree that I've been able to place in the centre, and then we've got this huge tree here to my right hand side, and then you're going to have this trail that leads off through, but you've also got nice scattering of ferns, and this one in particular, because it really fans out, and that's what we're finding today. We're finding that the ferns are looking even better than they looked last time. They're nice and rich, and they look really healthy. Absolute great find. So I'm going to take this at 14mm f11, focus directly on that tree that you can see to my left hand side there. I'm just going to capture a wide scene that I've got behind us. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm also going to take a selfie. You remember in my last video that I stood against some of the trees to give them size and scale, and that's a good idea sometimes, just to show the viewer how big they really are, because sometimes it doesn't really show the scale of the tree. So that's the reason I'm going to take a selfie, and you'll be able to get a good impression of how big these trees are. ISO 250 is pretty dark in here, and you'll be able to see we're getting a bit of breeze coming through this grove here. So I want to make sure that I stop the action and get everything as sharp as I can. So I'm going to get back, get this shot, and I hope you like it. Now we've actually came to the other side of the forest here in Carmanor, and we've been battling with rain again, and we've had quite a lot of wind, but Adam showed us this area here. Look at the interest that you've got behind us with these huge old growth trees, and what gives it a lot of character, you've got this one in the background here that's fallen over. Now because there's such a big opening in the sky there, it actually gives you the impression that you've got sunlight coming in, because it's letting so much of that reflective light into the area, and it really has a natural vignette around the edge of the scene because of the darkness of the sides of the trees. So I'm going to be shooting this at 24mm f11, focusing directly on this tree. Now my shutter speed's varying from time to time because we do get movement. Now if you look down to my right hand side, there's a fern next to the base of this tree, and that's the one that seems to be moving about the most. The ones in the centre of the image aren't moving about too much, so I've just got to try and wait till that fern stops moving. So I'm going to bump up my ISO, probably 320. I'm getting round about a fifth of a second at the moment, but that will vary as the conditions change. But what an amazing place it really is. Now I'm not sure if we're going to get any more locations in today, but we are coming out tomorrow. So for now, I hope you enjoy this image, and I'll put it on the screen above. Now it's a great morning this morning, it's still overcast, it's not too sunny, and we're in Pacific Rim National Park. Now look at this behind us, it's absolutely fabulous. So this is my last day on Vancouver Island. It's been a great couple of days. We got back last night, we were pretty tired, it was a long day yesterday. We got back, we got the fire on, we had a beer. Adam made us a nice pasta and just relaxed for the rest of the evening. So we've got up early this morning. Adam's brought us to another location. Look at that behind us, it's quite breathtaking. When I came through the forest, it was a bit of a climb in, you know, going down the ropes, and some of the bits were pretty sketchy, especially when you got your backpack on. And then from the distance we looked through the trees and we came across this, and it's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to talk you through the composition that I'm going to go for first. I am going to try a couple of shots here. Now the main thing is just to capture all this interest. Now I am going to be shooting it from down below, I'm going to be shooting up, but I want to include some trees that you've got to my right hand side, and there's a tree to the left, so that's going to frame the left and right hand side of the shot. But the main area I want to capture is this. Now because it's still early morning, we're not getting any harsh light coming in, and any light that is coming in from behind, it's quite soft. These are a couple of hot spots, but nothing major. So I can imagine coming here, if it was sunny, it'd probably be tricky to photograph. So that's another reason to get out nice and early. So I'm going to try this at 24mm. Now I'll probably cut out some of the foreground here because it's been trodden on and it's not very nice to look at. So I'll get back to the camera, get this shot and put it on the screen above.
And I hope you like it.
And I hope you like it. Adam's took us to the Chihuahua Giant. What a huge tree. So this is going to be the last location. Now with this area, it is particularly hard for photographs because there's been a lot of people here. You'll be able to see below the base of the tree, it's all worn out. So getting a decent shot of it, and because it's on the side of a hill here, it's quite hard. So what I'm going to do the obvious. I'm going to do a selfie. It'd be a shame not to do a selfie while I'm at this tree. But the shot that I've seen, I'm going to try for the wide shot so I can discard some of this foreground here. There's another tree, particularly large, not as big as this one, but it'd be nice to frame that as part of the shot. And then there's a smaller tree to the left hand side, so that's what I'm going to go for. Now I'm shooting with the 14mm, get a nice wide perspective on it, getting nice and close, include some of the foliage to the side of this tree, and that's basically going to be the shot. So I am going to call it an end to today's video. It's been an absolute brilliant couple of days over on Vancouver Island. You know, we had the rain unfortunately on the first day, but then we went into Camana, adventured more of Camana Provincial Park, and then we've came to the Pacific Rim Trail. And what can I say, I'd like to see more of this in the future, but for now it's time to head back to Vancouver. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up as always. Leave a comment below, love to read your comments. But from me, Vancouver Island, and thanks to Adam Gibbs for inviting us over. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye bye. Mosquitos. Right. Jesus. There's a hummingbird. Now you'll be able to see how the... Start that again.